Hey guys, DB Rye here, and today I am continuing with the Smallville What If Clark told Lex his secret, and well, as we know in the previous part, we pretty much covered the beginning of Season 6 with, General Zod possessing Lex, or Zod Luthor as I call him, Zod Luthor's downfall, and finally, in this timeline, good Lex reuniting with his evil half that has been on the loose since his escape back when 2 parts ago when I was covering season 4. Actually, I think it was more like 3 parts ago. So, with that chapter finally concluded, we can now focus on a, well, quite different version of Season 6. Alright. So, our story begins with, things, well, going very well for, Lex. Him and Lana's relationship is, has begun to flourish much differently than what it did in the original version of this series. And Clark is actually very happy for his best friend, and of course his, I guess you could say, his other best friend in Lana Lang. Says Clark has moved on and accepted that once and for all. Plus, he's got his own sort of problem to deal with, and that is, of course, the other escapees from the Phantom Zone. Now, with Lex Luthor helping him, and of course, as we know, Lana Lang is no stranger to a computer herself, and you got the brains of Chloe Sullivan as well, Clark is able to mop up the Phantom mess relatively quickly, a lot quickly than what he does in the original. Pretty much, with all that help, it was impossible for the Phantoms to defeat him. He was able to get the best of Titan, and the one who was played by Batista, whose names escape me. And he did have to have Martian Manhunter's help to escape him from the one that caused him to dream himself into a parallel reality. However, this parallel reality was different from the one in the original series. You know, where Clark is mental institutionalized and he spends the episode being normal and trying to get out of it. Now, this time, it was a bit more closer to actual reality, because pretty much everything that Clark witnessed in this dream world was pretty much the events that happened in the original series. Lex being the bad guy and all that. And, well, it was like seeing a speed-up version of the original Season 6. However, in the end, Clark is able to distinguish reality from the false one and comes back to us, and that Phantom is dealt with as well. The only one left to deal with is the one that turns out to be Bizarro Superman, which is yeah, they're having a hard time finding that one. Meanwhile, other events of Season 6 are playing out similarly, such as Clark's meeting with Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow, and for the first part, pretty much played out the same, with Clark initially trying to stop Green Arrow from doing his whole Robin Hood thing, stealing jewelry from Lionel Luthor. Of course, we know how that turns out. It turns out that Lionel Luthor was actually the original thief of said property. And, so while that's happened, Lex has decided to fully step down from Luthor Corp, giving full control of it back to his father. He wants nothing more to do with that part of his life anymore. And he's begun to set certain events in motion that we only saw in one episode back in Season 5. I'm talking about back in Season 5, where Lex nearly dies and experiences a whole new reality, where he's married to Lana Lang, has children. He's like family to the Kents and everything like that. Well, thanks to Lex's choices, that reality is about to come true. He's now married to Lana. She's pregnant with their first boy. And yes, he also dropped the race from being a senator, so Jonathan Kent is still senator in this timeline. And the fight between Lana Luthor and Jonathan Kent never happened in this timeline. In other words, Jonathan Kent is still alive in this reality. In case I didn't verify that before in previous parts, Jonathan Kent does not die in this reality. And, well, you might be thinking Lionel is all upset and bitter that Lex stepped down for Luthor Corp. But turns out, unlike the reality Lex Luthor witnessed in that one episode in the original, Lionel is actually proud of his son for stepping down and trying to make his own way. And, well, so it's all actually looking pretty good for Lex at the moment, except there is one drawback. He keeps having these weird nightmares. Something about an area 33.1. And dreaming about media infected and some bad things he's done. Well, as it turns out, he is experiencing subconscious memories of things that his evil half had been doing. Oh yes, all that time where we didn't see evil Lex, he was preparing Area 33.1 and performing the exact same experiments that Lex does in the original version of this season to the media infected. Whether he was trying to build his own personal army to fight off an alien invasion, or simply trying to find a way to restore Kryptonian powers to himself. Either way, it's not good news, and it's a problem that Lex needs to solve. And this time, it's personal. And after a few attacks from media-infected personnel who target Lex in this season, not realizing that there are actually two Lexes, an evil one and a good one, it actually does cause more of the memories from evil Lex to jog his memory a bit, and he actually does help these people in exposing what he had done. And this leads to Clark and Lex ultimately freeing them. However, they didn't go alone. Well, because they had Green Arrow, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Impulse with them, just in case things got a little messy with the people Evil Lex had held at 33.1. And well, as predicted, yeah, it did. They tried immediately to go straight for Lex. Luckily, Lex had all his superpowers with him to defend him, which needless to say, just like in the original, Oliver Queen and Lex Luthor's relationship is still very rocky. A very rocky start indeed, considering their history as children. And Oliver has a difficult time accepting that Lex is actually one of the good guys. You know, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, that sort of nonsense. And, but by this point of the story, their relationship does tend to improve somewhat, and at least Lex is trying to make up for the wrong his evil half had done. So after they're beaten, at least now these media infected can get the help they really need. AKA, Lana still starts up the ISIS Foundation. This time as a proper clinic, not some secret plan to get back at Luthor's. Because right now, all Luthors are on the up and up. No need for it. Now we're heading towards the finale of Season 6. And this is where we find out what Lionel's been up to all this time. He's been trying to track the last Phantom. And had managed to capture him in that little boy's form, just like Lex had done in the original. And, if anything, Lionel is doing his best to keep that thing away from Clark as much as possible, but you can't keep Bizarro down, not for long, because he does manage to escape and does manage to find Clark at the Kent farm, and he does make contact with the Kryptonian, becoming the Bizarro Clark Kent we know from the series, and we get the finale battle between the two, and well, it's pretty much a pretty even battle, except that Bizarro Superman has the complete advantage here because, as we know, Bizarro can fly, and second, it's nighttime. As we know, the sun is Bizarro's weakness, so it's not looking too good for Clark right now. And, well, Jonathan tried to get himself involved. And, well, kryptonite didn't work on Bizarro. He just absorbed it, and it just made him even more powerful. So, yeah, it just wasn't looking good for Clark at all. Who he does try to fight back, and well, it ends up into a big enough fight where Bizarro is not holding back any, and Clark ends up going into the ravine and disappears. Bizarro at least for now, thinks he has killed the only threat to him ruling the world or doing whatever he wants, is now dead. Clark is nowhere to be found. And that's where we're going to be leaving things, at least for the moment. So, what do you guys think of this story? Do we like the direction we've taken with Lex? That he has the potential to live a good and happy life? And do we like where we've taken this overall finale? All this and more next time as we continue this story. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, like and share the video. Thanks a bunch. I'll see you guys next time.